Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Smite League. It's E-Man F-Man here, and I am joined by none other than... Oh, why don't you introduce yourself? That's right, Silent Shadow. And it's going to be a wonderful game here between Landslide and gentlemen. Oh, welcome back to the Smite League. Don't mind
and
me.
Audacity Esports.
Yes, Landslide and Audacity Esports. I apologize for that echo. I don't know why. It sometimes does that and sometimes doesn't. Anyway.
Technology, man. What are you gonna do?
Exactly. Anyway, it's time to get into the game. And we have ourselves quite the exciting one, that's for sure. It's gonna be here. The band's coming in already. I am interested by these bands, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, the two from Audacity are pretty standard. The Raw band actually I think is a very good band. But the Janus is interesting. I'm surprised. Maybe they have some inside knowledge that we don't about one of their players.
Well, things can get kind of funny with these mid lane bans. Audacity's mid laner did show a lot of strength yesterday on Raw and Janus, so I guess anything is acceptable.
I mean, if they have the inside scoop, target bans are always great. I really like the Raw band. I think his healing is very, very strong in the current meta. There's not really a lot of ways to counter healing, even with Odin. The Janus band is somewhat questionable. So Sylvanas' first pick is also somewhat interesting. I don't really know why they would go for that with other picks like Athena up, but you never really know.
Certainly interesting to say the least here, but Jingwei Zeus being picked up for Audacity.
Yeah, Zeus makes a lot of sense because the Zeus-Sylvanas combo is really, really strong. It was shown off by Eager and in their games against Soar as just being really, really dominant if you can protect the Zeus well and play aggressive. Jingwei is just the best hunter in the game, so no
well,
question
certainly the
pick.
early pressure that Zeus brings to the table is going to be as well something pretty significant because when you have such a high bursty kind of mage in the beginning of the game, it's going to be super, super useful.
Definitely, he provides a lot of damage and really, really good mid-harpy control. The biggest thing about him, though, is he's really immobile and can be caught out very easily. Ratatosker and Thoth picked up here for Landslide. Really interesting to see Thoth. I'm not sure how well he's performed. He's kind of gotten mixed reviews from different pros. Some people think he's really strong. Some people think he's really weak. So I'm interested to see how he performs in these scrims.
Well, I'm not a mid laner, but I do think that he is a little bit weak. But then again, people also thought that of other characters that the pros have been able to bring in and show that when played right, I guess they can be viable.
Thoth provides incredible damage and incredible range in the late game, but his early game is really weak as his clear over mid is nowhere near most any other mid laners. Certainly not Zeus, who is one of the better mid laners, or better mid clears as he can step to the side of the wave. Thor banned here, as well as on her pretty standard bans, banning out what the other team hasn't picked yet.
Well, the ban for On Her is a little bit surprising to me, just because of the fact that they picked Sobek, right? And On Her kind of doesn't do well into Sobek regardless. I think, I mean, you could use some kind of CC, I guess, to punish a bad disperse, but if the Honor's playing smart anyway, the Sobek is a very safe pick into him.
Definitely. I think the Willix ban is probably the smartest these four bans here. With the Sobek and the Jingwei, there's so much combinations and potential for a Willix ult to not be requiring of her own knockup herself. The Rama ban's pretty standard on the other side. Mostly I would see like Rama Freya or Rama Soul being banned out if you already have an AD carry. Athena picked up really, really good pick. I expect to see this either coming out of the jungle or the solo.
I think it's going to be an Athena jungle. It's become more popular to play Athena into strange places nowadays, but the jungle, as Weekend made it famous, I think is a really great spot for Athena.
Definitely.
Since she brings so much in the way of tankiness and in the way of setup with that taunt and in the sort of way that junglers are kind of meat shields when their abilities are on cooldown. Why not just have them be a tanky meat shield?
Yep, you're absolutely right here with this Ramona hover. Looks like they're going to be deciding over their solo laner here. On Landslide side, they picked up Izanami and Tyr. Tyr's pretty standard now, but Izanami being picked up is really interesting. She has incredible tower damage, and really good lane clear, but she really tends to struggle in the boxing in the early stages before she kind of gets a lot of pen and structure damage online when she can pop her first ability there and just shred through with that attack speed steroid.
Well, to see this tier jungle as well, tier solo as well, I wonder what they'll pick into it. It's just, we've seen so much tier lately, and that Guan Yu is going to be locked in. We've seen so much tier lately that the solo lane has been a little game of either play tier or play a counter to tier, and I want to see if he's going to be able to make as much of a difference as we saw, for example, Zorthos do yesterday on his tier. Tier strength is definitely in rotations, and we'll see if that's gonna make a big factor in this game.
I think the Guan pick is really, really good here. Not just because it does well against you. They could have picked something like a Ravana or Chalk and try to bully him out of the lane early. But the Guan does a really good job late game of trying to counter some of the heals that Sylvanas provides to team fights. The biggest thing about Sylvanas is that he's a guardian that can heal his team, so with the really good disengagement that we've kind of gotten here coming from Eager, the healing potential to constantly heal, re-engage, disengage, and repeat, rinse and repeat over and over is really strong. And Guan kind of takes away Sylvanas' strength of that by having that strength himself.
Well, in addition to that, you also have the fact that Guan Yu in lane as well isn't going to need as much help as most other laners would into tier. He can deal with the pressure because he can heal himself, and he's knock-up immune in Talo Assault, so Fearless doesn't do what it would do to many other solo laners. So Guan is a great pick here, but also you're right. Because of the fact that you already have two Guardians, keeping them healthy with Guan's healing is a pretty strong idea. I just think that unless Zeus is able to stay alive very long, basically once Zeus falls, red team isn't going to have that much damage. That would be Audacity. They just won't have that much damage, I think, for their team fights. So I think that the advantage for team fights is going to go in the favor of well, now they show blue team on my screen, but it's which team is it? It's, oh, I'm forgetting this now. It's not Impact. Do you remember?
Starts with an L. Starts with an L, I believe. But either way, I think a double guardian can be both a good thing and a bad thing. Kind of a double-edged sword. It gives you a lot of peel and setup for the Zeus, but it also doesn't provide a lot of additional damage coming out of the jungle to help Zeus and Jingwei pick up kills. And so this is really going to be a mid to late game comp being run by the red team here. They need to protect Zeus in the early game and make sure he can free cast in the backline. On the other side for the blue team, they have to use all their dive potential with Ratatoskr, Thoth ult, and Tier ult to try to get to that Zeus. I mean, if you really want to be watching anyone in this game, look at him.
So I think that the later this game goes, right, you have the early pressure out of Zeus, out of Sobek, out of Jingwei, out of Athena, out of Guan. They're very strong in the early game. The later this game goes, I think the more in favor it goes on the Order side here, because, I mean, granted, you have Ratatoskr, but the rest of it's pretty late game. You have Sylvanas, who only really shines in late when he's, less killable. You have Izanami, who just scales immensely as the game goes on. You have Tyr, whose late game value is just, you can't kill him, and his Fearless chain is going to completely disrupt your backline. And the Thoth, I mean, he's built for the late game. His passive is literally building stacks.
Absolutely. I definitely agree about Thoth and Izanami. I don't think so in the team fight stages, though. If you're getting into really long extended team fights, Double Guardians is almost unbeatable if you don't have Double Guardian as well. You just have so much tankiness, and you can constantly re-heal with the Guan. I do think, though, that if we don't get into these kind of brawls, that the Thoth and the Izanami can do a lot of damage from the back as well. And as I said, it's all to the Zeus. I mean, both teams have really strong late game comps and kind of mid game team fight comps. So I'm interested to see how it plays out in the early game.
So let's run down the rosters here. On the side of Landslide, you've got Black Arm in the solo lane. We're going to be studying how these players go because they are going to be playing 3 games for us today. So you've got Black Arm in the solo lane here. And over in mid, was that a cheeky special emote out of someone? I'm not
I
sure if
didn't
I heard
catch
some
it.
harmonica.
I feel sad now that I didn't catch that.
And in the jungle, Josh Goggles playing Ratatosker. In the mid lane, Jit Little on both. And in the duo lane, Liquid Joe and Sober Joe. Nice.
Got him.
Inventive usernames. Yep. Over on Audacity here, high tier plat with the Guan solo. The Twins 30 playing the Athena jungle. Big Mama on support with Fido the Zombie in the duo lane. And Ace Killer 28 on that Zeus mid.
I'm interested to see how high tier Plat does as a Guan against the tier. It's not to be a good counter matchup for Guan, but I'm interested to see how he does against his own namesake here in this game. Worth noting with his highbrow humor here is that the speed buff of Landslide has been warded, and so they are going to know if there's any invade attempted. Audacity will, so I don't think either team will invade, but they're just being cautious here.
Yep, and of note as well is the fact that the Hog was picked up by the Athena, but not by the Ratatosker. So the early clear, especially with what Shield Wall gives you, I believe is going to be just a tad stronger on Audacity's side. So the early game solo fight is going to be a very interesting point of contention.
Agreed. As well, Jingwei doesn't have very many pots. She started with Spike Gauntlet rather than Boots 1, and so she's going to have to kind of watch the way her health is used and not take too much poke. Of course, she has her passive to get back to lane, but she's got to be a little bit careful here as the laning stage begins.
Well, here's something interesting. The Ratatosker has gone all the way to the mid Harpies as well to make sure that he's going to be picking those up with his mid laner, while the Fire Elementals here will be taken by the solo.
Yes, I mean, it's about the same EXP. I think it's a little bit more for mid camps overall, but either way, it kind of comes close to the same if they trade. What's going to be interesting to happen is which of the two duos here in mid clear first, and which kind of get to these mid camps and secure that farm on the left side.
Well, a little bit of poke either way, but the Sylvanas healing is going to make sure that Izanami is actually maintaining more pressure than the Sobek. A really nice pull here onto Big Mama. He's going to have to use Charge Spray defensively. But over in the mid, there's a little bit of a fight.
They're taking a lot of damage here. He's going to place some of the damage, but it looks like Rat's going to be able to take him out and focus onto the Twins, on Athena. Don't think they're going to be picking him up. Her speed buff is very good at getting her out, but
Jit Little so close, almost picks up the Twins 30, but first blood going to Landslide is a really important kill. Josh Goggles goes in, but whiffs the Acorn Blast, but that could have been another kill.
Hey man, I ain't that great at that either. I'm gonna say lag. We're gonna say lag.
Sure, blame the lag.
As they go to back camps and the game's gonna be paused by Sober Joe. I guess we can take this opportunity to look at items for a second here.
So the start on this Thoth to go for the Soulstone is, I think, a little bit strange. I would like to see more sustainy pick out of Thoth specifically. I mean, Zeus went Soulstone, and that's understandable because he's got Burst, but I don't think Thoth's Burst is good enough, especially when you pay attention to his abilities and that the fact that there's pretty poor scaling on Hieroglyphic Assault, and it does apply ability damage, and Soulstone does have 3 procs there, but I feel like Vampiric Shroud would be better because Thoth does get quite mana hungry, especially when you're going to be placing Glyph of Pain in order to make sure that you get Hieroglyphic Assault damage boosted.
I think the Soulstone is absolutely necessary for Thoth, not because it necessarily scales well with him, but because his clear is kind of weak early. He kind of just needs it to try to get him through the early stages. Tiny Trinket is a little bit more questionable. I mean, it's not really something that we see often. It's kind of gives you 4% magical life, steal a bit of power, but usually we see Soul Artifact, which is rank 1 of Doom Orb, Karnus Pendant, or Rada Tahuti, or we just see boots in some pots.
What's important to note, though, is that when you're taking a look at these duo lanes... Oh, it looks like Sober Joe has DC'd, by the way. But when you're taking a look at these duo lanes and the pot advantage that you have, basically, between each of them, you can see that the fact that the Sylvanas has been pressuring so hard, and he's only used 1 pot, actually, right? Yeah, that's 1 pot. He didn't place any wards.
Just one mana pot, yeah.
So
they're doing very well. The Izanami clear combined with the Sylvanas clear definitely means that they will have the lane advantage, and they'll be able to pressure out Sobek Jingwei for the early stages of laning phase.
And that Death Toll sustain that procs with every basic from Izanami has such good value in the early game, and it's quite clear just from, you see this pot advantage where you have 3-pot advantage over on the ADC, and you have a 3-pot advantage over on the supports as well. So that's pretty
Actually,
good.
just to clarify, that's only a 1-pot advantage. Jingwei only came at a base with 2 mana potions.
Oh, that's right, because she did the Devourer's Gauntlet start.
To do Dev's Gauntlet Rush, which kind of works. If there's any god, it works really well on the AD carrier. Well, it's Jingwei, because if she does get really poked at early game, she can use it back. Take her passive all the way back to in between the in between the T1 and T2 towers, and not lose very much farm at all. Everything else pretty much looks standard, besides what you already noted, E-Man, the Hog coming out for the jungler of Audacity.
Well, I did want to point out, though, the Sobek's Curse, and that's not necessarily uncommon, of course, because lurking in the waters plus the Curse slow guarantees the damage from it, but the fact that not only did he pick up the Curse, which is really good to counter the Sylvanas healing, but Sylvanas got a sprint.
Yes, but the curse somehow tells me that we might see a level 5 gank here with the Athena ult and the Sobek pluck into ult and weakening onto the Sylvanas to try to pick him off. Sylvanas can get picked really, really easily in the early game, and without his healing, even with a sprint popped, he could get caught out by the CC and damage from the jungler and duo lane of Landslide. So I'm interested to see how he plans on using that weakening, but we never know till we see it.
That's right. Well, it looks like Sober Joe reconnected briefly, but is still having troubles to get back into the game, so we're just currently waiting on that reconnection here. I do want to point out, though, the experience lead that's started to come as a result of the farming. So since the first blood, of course, you've had the 600 gold lead and the 400 experience lead that looks like it's on the decline simply because of the farm and how things swing between waves and whatnot. But it's important to note here who's going to hit level 5 first. So when you take a look at, for example, the solo laners, you have between Black Arm and between high tier Plat. Black Arm does have an experience lead, and as a tier, you want that because the Lawbringer is going to be very, very vital to have up. Completely shuts down the cavalry charge. You can't really do anything about it. You can't, guarantee your CC unless you know that Lawbringer's down, and Lawbringer, he's going to be saving it for that, of course. When you look at the junglers here, the Twins 30 is actually ahead in terms of experience onto Josh Goggles, even though Josh Goggles has the first blood advantage. That being said, the Athena ult isn't necessarily going to bring the same fully global pressure that you get out of a Ratatosker. Sorry, the other way around. The Ratatosker isn't going to match the fully global ultimate pressure out of Athena, but it's still a lot more useful for ganking, like you said, and getting into that back line.
Definitely. I think that we are going to see Landslide on the dual Landslide hit 5 a little bit earlier, as well as on tier. The mid and jungle seem to be doing fine of Audacity, and it seems like overall it's mainly just a very 400 EXP gain for Landslide and just first blood gold for 650 difference. What I am interested to see, and I expect Soul Lane to be just kind of like a whitewash there, I am interested to see what happens and how the junglers play around the dual lane there. I think there's a lot of kill potential for both teams. Whereas I don't really see the same over there on the dual lane between Guan, CC Immune Ultimate, and of course Lawgiver, which makes tier CC Immune.
Well, I think the most important thing is the fact that the one who's furthest behind in experience is Ace Killer 28. And the fact that he's playing Zeus, you need that Zeus ultimate up for that first fight. And when you see a Thoth ultimate up before that, it's quite dangerous because Zeus is pretty squishy. And so when you have the threat of this gigantic whoa, and you don't have to let the heavens rain, to come and counter it, it doesn't
Definitely.
to, in addition to the fact that also Jit Little is playing Thoth, which is a god that plays from range, right? So he's not always going to be caught in the thunderstorm of Zeus. So I think that if Landslide plays this correctly, they'll be able to get another kill in the mid lane, which is really important, but onto their mid laner, who only got the assist off of the first blood.
Absolutely, and of course Ratatosker got that first blood really kind of pushing him ahead. Ratatoskr is a very good god from ahead, and I'm interested to see how he kind of, if he tries to make any invades into the jungle here. Athena doesn't have, I mean, she does have Hog, but Athena, the god herself, doesn't have a really great way to prevent invades. And Tyr, as you just said, has a slight level advantage on the Guan here, slight EXP lead. So I'm interested to see if they try to rotate into the jungle and pressure out Athena's jungle as we wait for Sober Joe to return.
It's an interesting thing as well to look at the minion kills, because it's a stat that people sort of overlook in Smite. And talking about, well, I mean, it's creep slain in League of Legends and other MOBAs, right? You know, the CS. But
Yeah.
it's really important to note that Ratatoskr, because he was forced to back after getting that kill, he wasn't necessarily able to keep up in farm. And so he only really has 5 minion kills. I mean, you see 3 and 6 on the supports. And the fact that he's got less minion kills than the enemy Sobek means that basically he's really got to make sure he's remembering to pick up camps if he wants to be able to take the lead that I got from First Blood and end up using it. As
I mean,
well,
overall, it's kind of like negligible, I guess you could say. So his mid has 2 more. He has 3 less than his
Yeah, sure.
counterpart Athena. So
the point is, it's 2 minutes in, right? And
It's
three
2 minutes
minions,
in, it
three
is.
minions every 2 minutes is going to start to show some disparities as you get towards 10 and 20 minutes. And basically, to see the early game minion kill stat here is important to remember. You know, in the early game, it's all about the efficiency and getting to 5 as fast as you can.
Absolutely. I think he's farming up with his milliner. He got first blood. He's not doing such a bad job.
It's true. He does have the
himself.
highest gold in the game as a result of that First Blood bonus.
We're kind of going over details here. I think the biggest thing is this next engagement around level 5 or level 6 will probably decide how the rest of the next 15 minutes go. Either Thoth hits a big ultimate off of a lot of CC onto the Zeus or Jingwei, or it becomes a kind of all-out brawl with Athena ult being able to come back in and weakening curse really hurting the weakening coming out of Sylvanas. So, everything is just riding on this one big last fight or first fight.
And we're sorry for the delay, guys. We are just waiting for Sober Joe to make that return to the game. Not sure what the nature of his technical difficulties are, but nonetheless, it's been good for the 2 minutes of what we've seen so far, I think.
Yeah, I think we had an
excited.
interesting start to the way things went out on the mid game on those mid camps. Athena and Zeus really just weren't able to expect the rotation, I guess you could say, from Ratatoskr coming from behind, and just did a lot of damage at level 3.
Yeah, the fights in mid haven't really been gigantic fights. They've only been 2-on-2s. Yeah, this first team fight is definitely something to look out for. Delay has ended apparently, so we're about to get back in.
We hear from the little birds in the trees.
From production. Production has made it known. Of course,
Let it be known.
we are going to be 180 seconds behind. That's just Smite for you. But do stay tuned because we're about to get back into it.
So tell me, which of these 10 gods, if you had to play one of these gods, man, which of them would be?
Jingwei, I'm an ADC main.
Ah, Jingwei.
Yeah.
So if it's not
Well-
OP, it's not for you then.
Well, Jingwei's been nerfed to the ground, to be fair, and I kind of,
Nerf to the ground.
yeah. I
Her
mean,
passive gets her back to laney, man, for free.
but the dash is on a 20-second cooldown. You're never gonna
Man,
use that.
I would. Dude,
You're
I would
never gonna
love-
use that
I would love,
aggressively.
when I feed in solo, I would love to have just free teleports back to lane. every 4 seconds, I want to back. That sounds like a great way to farm.
Then you should play
No,
Jingwei in mid if you want to get back to lane fast.
I mean, I'd have to choose my girl Athena. I mean, no other god has been as nonsense for as long. A
I mean,
2-second taunt, max rank. Max
Jingwei
taunt.
has a 20-second cooldown. You're never gonna use that. Come on.
Nah,
20
man, she gets
seconds.
Fatalis for 6 seconds.
Okay,
Dude,
so you're
nah.
gonna use it aggressively and goodbye to your escape, right? I mean, I remember the days when the ult was a glorified escape, and now, you know, people learn to use it for confirmed damage, but come on now. Who's actually gonna use it?
Wait, there's something besides CC immunity on that ultimate? I never knew. All right, we're getting back into game here.
Yes,
Sober
we are
Joe
indeed
has
back into
reconnect.
it. And the engagement in the dual lane is gonna go forward. Sobek takes a lot of poke though. And now it's gonna be able
definitely
to
getting the
flex
pluck
over
here
there.
off on Izanami, but she's just gonna keep swinging away into the creep wave before she dashes away,
Look
and
at
then
that
continues
healing.
swinging into the creep wave like 80
Actually,
carries
it
down.
looks like Big Mama wants to go in on this, but he doesn't necessarily have the health pots to sustain himself. I mean, he's got them ticking, but he doesn't necessarily have the health pool to do so. They could burst him as soon as they hit 5, and next thing you know, the Dark Portal comes through, and you're completely destroyed. Nonetheless,
Absolutely.
he's aggressive. I love this approach here, actually. How that healing is just
Heal
going
coming
to
out
allow
from
them to fall.
Sylvanas here, yeah.
But now
Pluck
the
going
pluck
through on the
goes.
Sylvanas, that's who you want to get because he is no way out. But they're just going to keep walking through. Sylvanas will use onto the Sobek as well. Izanami ult. He's going to go down for
Here he
second blood.
goes. Oh my goodness! Roots the dash out of the Jingwei. The escape is down. Defender of Olympus has to go in. A beautiful pull, but now Defender of Olympus getting thrown in there. Sober Joe's forced to use purification early, but there's no taunt to come through. But the rotation comes in from Thought. The Twin 30 does pick up Sober Joe, but it looks like he's going to pay for it with his life as the healing from Liquid Joe comes in.
Oh, but
Boom! There he goes!
Sniped
Sniped! And through the Cosmos isn't even needed.
Can we get a The Cannon in chat as Red Tusker dives and does pick up
Easy.
Fido the zombie to finish
Easy.
the engagement.
Easy. A beautiful
Easy.
rotation from mid lane, and where was Zeus in all of this? Wasn't able to make it all the way. That's one of the weaknesses of Zeus. He's just too immobile.
I just have to take a moment to talk to Liquid Joe here about that taunt though. Defender of Olympus does damage, fam. Don't taunt that 280 carry. I love you. It was a good taunt. I can't hit those. I wish I could hit those, man. But sometimes hitting things is, you know. Have you ever Freya banished?
Well, meanwhile, the right mid camps are going to be picked up by Audacity here. So the kills read 4-1 as a result of that engagement. So it's in the favor of Landslide, but the fact that Landslide got pressured out means that both sides of mid now is going to be collected with this nice key trio here of the jungle and the support, and that's going to help Ace Killer really be relevant in the next fight. And we were talking about how it's about Zeus and making sure that he's the one that stays relevant. So that's going to be important for him.
Landslide winning that fight is going to have big repercussions for this game, including the fact that there are 4 wards, including 5 wards, excuse me, including a sentry ward in the inventory is now being placed on the side of Landslide. That's going to give them a big vision advantage in these next upcoming Gold Fury and mid fights.
Well, Black Arm's
Now-
going to get a lot of poke here onto high tier plat, but I don't think he noticed that Athena rotated into the lane to take a wave.
You know, E-Man, there's 2 things, you know, that are similar to each other here. There's honey badgers and there's guans because neither care.
Well, there's also Ratatoskers with the Through the Cosmos here, and he's gonna
Guans still
just
don't
go
care.
away.
The guans still don't care. But you look at all these wards here in the mid, covering the left side of the mid camps, as well as top right mid and over on these boards. I mean, the vision control from Landslide is overwhelming.
Well, over on the duo side, looks like Sobek's positioning himself pretty aggressively onto Sober Joe. No ward, so didn't see him coming, but Big Mama isn't going to engage. A potentially missed kill, but nonetheless, high tier plat, all of a sudden, he's in a little bit of trouble as Tyr is going to be able to solo him with Josh Goggles, of course, stealing the kill like any good jungler
Who cares
would do.
about that one? Tower hurts. Who cares now? Oh, we're looking at Sober Joe. He's gonna looks like he might be caught out here by Sobek Pluck, who's looking in the jungle with Athena 4 kills. And he's gonna get caught inside the buff, but he's just gonna dash away before Athena taunt comes out to keep him in there.
But here comes the hieroglyphic assault, and oh my goodness, where did Big Mama's health go? Josh Goggles is going to pick up the kill in the engagement near the Gold Fury pit, and now it
Heavenly
looks like
agility pop, and they're gonna keep chasing, but Jingwei is going to ult out back into her tower. She should be safe as
And
the
now-
entire
Oh,
Audacity
Landslide
backs
wants
out.
it. Landslide wants it. They're 6 kills strong in 6 minutes, and there goes Josh Goggles diving the tower, but he thinks better of it, having to beads out the Confound. Black Arm's going to pick up the kill anyways, and that's another kill for Landslide on the left side.
Doing a really, really good job of grouping up there. 5-man Tier rotated way before.
And high tier plat goes in though with the cavalry charge, but through the Cosmos is already off of a cooldown, and he wants to go back in. He wants blood. He thinks better of it.
But yeah, we hype you up. We hype you up, man. It's Casper's Curse. We hype you up, and then you gotta do that to us.
Well, it's an important thing for Landslide to reset right now because they're gonna back. They've got a lot of gold in hand, and they're gonna want to spend it, right? Tier's got 1,500, Izanami's got 1,400, and they're gonna finish off some key items there to move them from early game into the mid game.
Both mid camps have spawned and are spawning here, so it looks like teams might be able to group up and contest, though Ratatosker, like me, wants his speed way more than anything else in the game.
And I'm jungling? Yeah, I want my speed. I don't care about anything else.
Dude, what is it? We lose speed, we feed? That's what we do.
My name is Weaken. Didn't get my speed. Now I'm tilted, time to feed.
Yeah,
anyway,
there you go. There it is.
A little bit of tension here in the mid lane as Athena's looking to get a little bit deep, but Josh Goggles showing up is going to discourage that just a little bit. So notice here now the items are getting started. Ratatosker's going into Void Shield, and Athena, what item is that? Obsidian Shard or Magus?
For Athena, I expect it to be Void Stone. I expect him going into an early Void Stone. It's kind of interesting. I don't really like it on Athena jungle as a second item immediately after boots. I think it works much better as a third or fourth item, but it's a good item on her. It gives her some defense against magical carries, as well as overall a good amount of damage to start her off with.
Well, the cavalry charge is used here, and Blackarm's in a little bit of a weird spot. He does manage to steal away Guan Yu's blue buff after his own was stolen and uses the Lawbringer for a disengage, but through the Cosmos!
We keep hyping this guy up, and he keeps failing us here.
Well, nothing of consequence, but it's important to play smart, not necessarily play hard, and Josh Goggles is definitely showing he's doing that. 4-0-1 as Rat.
Sober Joe getting poked out here in the left lane, but he doesn't really mind. He's going to clear the wave with an ability and a couple autos. Back to base just as Jingwei is, though Jingwei is going to get there first and be able to push another creep wave into tower as Blackarm decides to casually 1v2 because Tier's heal is 100% fair.
Balanced.
Wow.
What is that heal? 105 up to 3 times.
It's just
balance.
fairness.
Balance. Yeah.
Fairness. Fairness.
Well, more pressure here. Actually, Blackarm is doing a lot of damage to high tier plat there in solo lane. I think more than that Guan Yu is willing to take. But now over in the mid lane, look who's ready for a fight.
Definitely grouping up here, looking for trying to find some picks. Or at least get a lot of CC in to follow the Thoth ult, just like he did the last couple fights. Really, that ult hits hard and can set up a lot of kills and guarantee a lot of kills even in the early game. The scaling on it is absolutely massive.
Well, it looks like Jingwei might be in a little bit of trouble though, as the whole team now, Landslide rotating once again, but Big Mama shows up, making sure that they're going to be alright, but it looks like we're going to have a 4v4 here in the Gold Fury pit.
Interesting enough to note, Thoth has opted into a Divine Ruin early. It's going to do well against the Guan, but it's not really going to provide him a lot of early game damage. So Zoo should be hitting significantly harder than Thoth. Ooh, that gold.
Oh, they were getting the Gold Fury off of it so that they could clear the ward. That was placed on the Gold Fury.
E-Man just baits me. I got excited for like half a second, and then I realized I got baited.
What can I say? I'm a master at baiting.
Yeah, we're just going to let that one slide and move on to the mid camps that are being contested. Athena, I believe, did manage to get those away from Ratatosker, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Thoth picked those up. Wasn't perfectly clear, but for sure we'll be paying attention to those mid camps because it's going to ensure the difference.
Oh, Sober Joe.
Oh, someone's baited.
Sober Joe, no!
Someone's baited. Oh, he's charging it. He wants it, but instead he's just going to give it up. Audacity secure those left mid camps, and now they're grouping up for the Gold Fury.
Fortunately, Sober Joe has DC'd here. I don't know if they're out of time to pause the game.
Well, Audacity do get that Gold Fury with another DC
they are
from
going to be able
Sober Joe.
to pick up that Gold Fury before they can respond and take the opportunity as it comes, as they should. Big Mama here ulting
through the Cosmos though, and Big Mama's in a little bit of trouble. A good Fearless, and Josh Goggles is going to take him out, and he wants more. He's going to move into the Jingwei, decide a little bit better of it, noticing that there's other people here, but Guan Yu is pushing the right tower. They've got to make something else out of this, and they're going to try and push mid.
Thoth ult, just half of the health. of a Guardian with armored cloak.
He's basically Anubis. What airstrike over the corner, and Jingwei has showed up. But it looks like they're going to take that mid tower instead. Guan Yu on the backside. Good healing, though, coming out of Liquid Joe, making sure that Guan Yu isn't going to make a huge difference. And he's just going to say, oh, all right, I guess I'll just go back to my lane.
So far, I mean, Landslide has done a really good job in this 4v5, being able to get a pick and the middle tower to respond to the solo tower being taken by Guan on that split push.
But overall,
they are going to be in a bit of a pickle here if they do not manage to get their player back here in the short future.
Well, overall, gold's even though. As a result of that Gold Fury, even though the kills are 9-1, gold's even. It's an even game, and it looks like they're going to be trying to reset, get out of combat, so that they can pause in just a moment. I think.
I believe there's a possibility they might be out or nearly out of pause time. I'm surprised that they haven't paused yet. So I guess we'll move into the game as it currently is. Unfortunately enough for Landslide, but well, we can't count them out yet. They've been playing very well all games. You got to keep watching here.
Well, Little's definitely getting that mid lane pressured, while Big Mama's forced to, rather Liquid Joe is forced to try and deal with that left lane all on his own. But
Red Trust are ganking in here. Athena ult going to be used, but they're just going to disengage and burn the ultimate there.
Well, Defender of Olympus being burned there, I think, is a win for Landslide, as now they can afford to push other lanes. But Little's going to be pressured out of mid lane as they converge on the tier 1 tower. They pop the shell to confirm. The Thoth ult, though, is going to be used to chunk high tier plat. I think he should have waited for shell to finish, though. Black Arm, though, has made the rotation, and the Lawbringer comes in here. A beautiful two-man Fearless, and now all of a sudden a lot of damage is being done. High tier plat isn't looking so healthy anymore. The Guan Yu healing is going to keep him alive, but really good discouraging from that tier 1 tower in mid. Well played by Landslide.
Very well done to come out of a 2v3 and defend their tower. As unfortunately, the left side is being pressured as well by the duo lane of Frito Anzumi as engaged and taunted into the tower. Really good job, but a hog stun is going to go through Aegis. Forward at Tosker is going to keep him alive so the Jingwei ult doesn't take him out as they back off and survive as Black Arm kills Big Mama.
In the mid lane, they do lose that tier 1 tower, but an important kill that tier got there, and that's going to keep them nice and safe, I guess, from other objectives like the Fire Giant being attempted at this point in time. Black Arm is going to teleport into the speed buff and make sure that he secures it for his team, and now Ace Killer's in a little bit of trouble. He sees the Zeus, he wants the Zeus, let the heavens rain, but Black Arm is not going to take too much damage from it.
Ratatosk coming in from the side. Looks like he's just going to finish him off here.
Down he goes. The Fearless is going to be slightly whiffed, but High Tier Plat is now going to go back in, understanding that. Look at the cooldown on Lawbringer! But Defender Olympus is going to come in, and now Josh Goggles is being taunted out. He can't get away. Black Arm.
Oh yeah, that Guan ult hurts hard if you hit every single hit, which he did. Mainly on the tier, but still, Defender of Olympus does a lot of damage to Ratatosker, and they're going to trade 1 for 1, although Black Arm does secure the farm of the speed buff.
Well, it's important to make sure that you don't let the game spiral out of control in this kind of circumstances, but it is 1,000 gold lead now for Audacity, and it's not looking so great since Sober Joe has not been able to reconnect. Liquid Joe's doing what he can, but it's not like he's building a damage Sylvanas, so they're really going to have to focus a lot on that Ratatosker building into more damage items, as opposed to being a little bit tanky, as most Rat players like to play it.
Definitely. I think the Voice Stone hurt him in this situation. I don't think it's a bad first buy for Ratatosker necessarily in a normal game, but in a situation like this, not having a lot of that damage can really hurt him because he needs to be able to pick a player off and get out as he ults.
Josh Goggles wants that through the Cosmos, and he's looking at a Jingwei, but you don't want to knock up a Jingwei when she has her dash. He's going to be in a little bit of an awkward spot, so he's going to be backing off. Thought's going to be charging the ultimate, but decides better of it, realizing the whole team has made the rotation here. So that Guan Yu, but
through, and he's going to ult through many people, but the Sobek ult through. Heavenly Agility coming up from Sylvanas to get him out of dodge as Sobek goes in to tank the tower, but he's taking a lot of damage. Big Mama is, and he's going to make it up.
And down he goes! Jin Little picks him up, and Big Mama is out for the count. Ace Killer uses the beads a little bit late. The Lawbringer goes through, and now Black Arm is looking to solo Jingwei on the back corner. He does pick it up. Killing spree for the tier, and now Ace Killer's in a really bad spot as a beautiful Fearless Sheen gives him a double kill and his 4th of the game.
Well played by both Liquid Joe and Black Arm. Blackarm getting 2 kills for himself in that fight, and Sylvanas getting 2 huge taunts both on Big Mama and on Zeus in order to guarantee that fight win as they look to push up mid lane and try to get some structures of their own.
But Blackarm is a powerful tier, and he knows. He knows what's going on. Very good map awareness, able to teleport in time, and in fact, there's pressure in the mid lane from Landslide 4v5. I'm impressed.
Very.
As a result of that fight, in fact, there's now only 700 gold difference. The game is still even between them, and don't forget that a lot of this gold is going to be sort of awkwardly shifted over in favor of Landslide simply because there's no farm coming out Jingwei.
Yep, no
But the
50.
cavalry charge is popped, and Guan Yu wants to go in. But it looks like someone's going to be going to the air. It's going to be Ratatosker. Josh Goggles jumps in, but Defender of Olympus is going to keep someone alive. Wrath of Terra as well, but Josh Goggles is looking carefully for his target. Athena's going to pick up the speed buff, which I guess was the point of the whole engage. And now, finally, Zeus is going to force them to just back off just with a single shield. I remember when that ability used to give speed. Oh, it was so good.
But as this whole time, Feed of the Zombie is going to be soloing the Gold Fury down as their team rotates to help her finish it off. And that's going to be a lot of gold, about 1,500 at this point in the game. Going to his big one with the buff here on tier.
Uh-oh, Blackarm's in a little bit of trouble. He got poked out really hard by Zeus. Can't even use the Lawbringer to get away, and that's the problem when you're a tier who doesn't have magical protections, is that Zeus is really going to hurt you. I think Zeus should be the focus of their fights if they want to continue to try and fight into this 4v5. Unfortunately for them now, it's a little bit more difficult for them to do anything since, you know, people are reaching the late game, but Fight of the Zombie's in a little bit of trouble. Not going to be able to be picked up, though, by Josh Goggles. Oh my goodness, this Thoth damage is huge. A beautiful pull from Liquid Joe. The Hog Stun comes through to try and save herself, in addition to a Meditate from Big Mama. The Zeus ultimate goes down, and Josh Goggles, though, 1v2 in the back line. He's going to take another tick of that, but he's going to just barely live as Zeus doesn't have the detonate available. But
the whole time, this is the problem. You have a Guan and an extra player, essentially, that can go through and split push as team fights go. So 4v4s, you can win them. There's a 5th man on the map getting work done. This is really going well for Audacity last fight. The moment, of course, Casper's Curse. We mentioned how well Landslide is doing. They lose a fight here, and they're going to lose another structure on the map here.
Well, they are fighting valiantly, but now the gold difference is going to be 5,000, and if they're not careful, they will start losing their fights, despite the fact that they're 14-3 in kills.
Interestingly enough, Ratatosker has built into a pressure, and there's no AD carry to do tower damage, but a Jotun's Wrath to give him cooldown would have gave him a lot more damage and still pen on tower, or at least Titan's main to give him straight pen. I mean, the pressure seems like a kind of a strange...
Well, the cavalry charges popped and so's through the Cosmos. Liquid Joe can't even survive long enough, and they're going to have to disengage here if they're not careful. But no, Liquid Joe wants to go back in. He's looking for it. No, he decides better of it. Yes, the
without
Crusher
a Jotun,
is a
that's
very
a full
strange pickup.
cooldown rat ult, and he's not going to have this up for a rushed Fire Giant at 20 minutes in. Ace can't do it. They do have a Hog. Thoughtful coming through, not doing that much damage to the Guardians here.
Oh, and Fight of the Zombie's barely going to get out. Now Josh Goggles is caught in a really bad spot. Big Mama picks up the kill. The F6 comes through, but the Lawbringer comes through, and Blackarm says, Jingwei, not for now. Jit Little, however, caught in a really bad spot. That's going to be the F6, but a very, very well-played first game from Landslide.
Really, really unfortunate. Sober Joe was unable to connect for the entirety of the game. I don't know if we'll be seeing a sub coming out. Jit Little himself is a sub here for Landslide, so I'm not sure what they'll do. We'll have to ask Reduction about what is going on.
So, there's not too much to talk about that game, of course. When you have a disconnected player, you have a disconnected player, and there's not too much you can do. But Audacity Esports did look a little bit sloppy in their fights. Like I said, their only real damage dealer happened to be that Zeus. What could they have done differently in order to win more fights into Landslide?
I think they took some fights, and I think really they lost dual lane, giving up, or at least going Jingwei and Sobek into Izanami Sylvanas, and then trying to take a fight there on the dual lane side at the beginning of the game was a kind of questionable call. Even though Athena did ult in and they had an extended fight, it was a 3-2-1, I believe, in favor of in favor of Landslide. So I think what they could have really done is understood that they weren't going to win that 2v2 and wait so that the Sobek could rotate into mid lane to where they could fight with Athena Zeus Sobek, which is a much better 3v3 combo and doesn't require Athena to burn ult to get into the fight initially.
So it looks like Landslide is going to be using a substitute for the next game to replace Soberjos due to the issues that he's been having. So we're going to be waiting and making sure that that second game is going to get underway shortly. So stick around. Game 2 is on the way, and we'll see you guys in just a moment.
It's a fire in love. It's a fire in love. It's a fire, it's a fire in love.
Hello. Oh.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Audacity Esports once again versus Landslide Game 2. And whew, I'm excited.
So we have Parkour Dude 91 going to be subbing in for Sober Joe, who unfortunately was unable to make it back after last game. So hopefully we'll have a great game this game with no interruptions.
Yep, that's for sure. And so although the first victory did go to Landslide, I still think Audacity just looked absolutely fantastic in this game. I'm very excited to see what they're going to be able to do in the league to come.
I think Landslide made a really, really good performance, even though they unfortunately ended up losing in the 4v5. I'm interested to see how it goes, and I think we can see a really, really great game here, even though they're going to have a second sub as well. So Sylvanas banned away by Audacity here. They don't want to see that Sylvanas again.
By Landslide, you mean?
It's flipped, I think.
Black Arm plate.
Or am I just... Black Arm playing for Landslide last game, right?
Hold on. Jit Little plays for Audacity.
Okay, maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm hallucinating.
Sorry, no, Jit Little does play for Landslide. No, you're correct. So my client is
yours and mine. Yours and mine.
Okay, just checking, just checking. Yeah, all right. So the teams are wrong, I guess.
Thanks, spectator.
Thanks,
Anyway,
Hi-Rez, more like, but yep, the band's coming in for Janus and Terra this time.
and we've seen Yanis ban both games. The Raw was left unbanned. It's left up. It was banned last game. So I'm interested to see if either of the teams pick it here. Sylvanas was banned. I think he was very strong in the last game, and Audacity did not want to face it again. But Ao Kwong, the Dragon King, picked up here for Audacity.
Ao Kwong. We know what Ao Kwong can do in our ranked games. We've
100% fair.
We've seen what it can do in competitive games as well during the Smite Pro League, and we've seen what it can do, I'm sure, if anyone plays Face It. Does anyone play Face It?
What is that? Is that a thing?
Wait, you don't know what Face It is?
Oh, I know. I'm saying, is it a thing or is it just not a thing?
I'm not sure if it's a thing. You know, I actually had trouble connecting my Face It account.
Let's not.
Special characters in the password or something like that.
Regardless,
not sure.
Bacchus, Ao Kwong, and Jingwei all picked it for Audacity. I think it's a really, really strong burst comp with a lot of damage here, even from the Bacchus, even though he's a Guardian. I'm interested to see how they round it out. Bacchus doesn't really peel well necessarily, and Ao Kwong is a diver himself, so I'm interested to see if they pick up a soul laner or mid laner that does well to peel for themselves, unlike the Thoth that we saw out of Landslide, I believe, from last game, Jit Little, though he's going to pick that again, it seems.
Yep. Well, I mean, I think I really like the Thor into Ao Kwong, just because Ao Kwong is the kind of god that gets into your back line, right? So you have to turn and burn him, and the only way you can do that is if you can lock him down. And Thor's CC is a very good option for that, as well as Athena's. I like it. I like the Thor into Ao Kwong.
I think if Thoth has only one slow and one slow in his kit, and he's a long-range mage that's weak early, the ideal team comp for him would be Athena Thor. There's so many stuns and setup for his abilities, and I think Landslide so far has drafted an excellent comp, though Audacity does have Ao Kwong, which is an AIDS character, and I have to give them the draft so far for that reason alone.
Well, the Scylla ban here, I think it's a very smart ban as well. The last thing you want is an Ao Kuang ult setting up like Naja for a Scylla ult and kaboom, you know?
Absolutely. Even though the ult we usually think of it as an execute, and it's oftentimes used that way, it can also be used to set up, just like Naja ult or Kumba ult would be. Though the timing isn't quite as well known by most mid laners and junglers here. Tier banned as well away from Black Arm. He played very well previous game on that tier, and I'm not surprised to see that ban come out at all.
Yeah, for sure he showed his dominance in that solo lane, even against Guan Yu, who doesn't have the hardest time laning against the tier. So very, very nice pick. Rather, very nice ban, I should say. And the Erlong Shen and the Amaterasu, I think they're targeting solo lane this time. They don't want that tier to be as big of a problem. They don't want Black Arm to carry his team.
Absolutely. The rotations he made last game were impressive, and he had a huge impact in the game. So definitely focusing on him, I don't think is a bad idea at all. Rama picked up for Liquid Joe to round out the last of these carries. So I'm interested to see what these kind of solo matchups is. Parkour and Landslide do have the counter matchup, and we might see something spicy. I hope. I hope we get some spicy picks.
I do like some spice.
What?
Ooh. Oh, I think we're seeing a Freya.
Jingwei mid?
Is it your dream or is it a Freya mid?
The spice. Man.
I think Freya. That's an interesting pick. Freya. With this?
Oh, Freya 80 carry is
Who's their peel?
very strong. What? Who needs peel in this day and age?
Oh, come on now.
It is the current year. Why would we need peel when we have damage?
Well, this
No,
time...
I think it's interesting to see. Definitely that's a big problem, but there's the damage coming out from Audacity is going to be insane. I think if Bacchus and Big Mama, he played an initiator last game, but I think if he can really play the support peel role and save a lot of his CC for the backline, I think that they can pull off this combo, though it's going to be really dicey and requires them to play very well mechanically.
Yep, well, as we enter the trading phase, we're going to make sure that we see who's going where, and it looks like Black Arm is playing solo back?
Solo back. Yes, absolutely. Divios made it a thing again. Solo Guardians are a thing. And
Sounds like something
it
personal
reminds
for
me
you.
of season 1 and makes me want to cry that it's a thing again. But I will say it was a kind of interesting pick of Sobek. I think they must have banned out the majority of his god pool because Ao Kuang and Freya absolutely shred through Guardians in the mid and late game. And so picking up double Guardian is similar to what they played last game, but I'm not sure if it's necessarily the best idea team comp-wise.
Well, when you're looking at these team comps and how the team fights are going to go, you have a lot of single target damage on Landslide, right? Freya, Jingwei, Vamana, Ao Kuang, right? They're all single target. So I think that inherently, as long as you keep Jit Little alive, Thoth is going to be A-okay just free casting into these squishies here and really won't have a huge problem, especially considering, well, I guess Vamana is going to build magical protections having to lane against Sobek, so it could go either way.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Big Mama plays really crucially. I mean, Landslide here on our left side has a really standard team fight. You got a mage and an AD carry in the back. You got a double front line and a Thor to mess around in your back line and set up for Thoth individually. Audacity likes Indian food, I guess. You know, they go with that spice. We got a hot Jingwei mid, and we got a lot of damage coming out of Audacity.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that's going to work out. Yeah, Jingwei mid.
Didn't Xenotronics do it? I believe.
I think so, yeah.
I believe he did it in group stages, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Xeno
it
does
went
have Jingwei in the God pool, yeah. But Xeno also has Neith in the God pool. I mean, we all know, though, that Yaman is the
And
real
he also has
king of Hunter
Raijin, which
mids.
apparently...
Well,
You know, we're
Yaman
talking about
is
Xeno.
Yaman is the
here.
king of hunter mids, of course. What Chiron? I mean,
And
technically
Medusa
you
there.
can make any hunter work in mid if you try hard enough.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. There's not really a lot of the AoE damage. It's really single target coming from Audacity. I think if Thoth can be protected well and Rama not get caught out before his ult gets off, I think Audacity can really take these fights if they can shred that backline.
Well, we're going to be getting into this momentarily, and we'll see how it works out. I say the later this goes, the harder it is for Audacity, but the team fight is going to be what's really important. It's about whether they're going to allow themselves to go for single picks or for the team fights. That's going to make all the difference here with all
Absolutely.
these
This is
squishies.
all a question of grouping. If Audacity can keep these fights really split up, which I almost think is going to be a very difficult proposition for them with a Thor, Rama, and Athena globals. But if they can keep these fights split up and keep these into 2v2s and 3v3s, I think even in the late game they have an incredible comp for damage. But if it's 5-on-5 and they're allowed to full team fight with Shell and Meditation, I think Landslide will take this one.
So, let's run it down here with the compositions once again. Take it away.
All right, here we go. We got Ace Killer in the mid playing Xenotronics and essentially and his Jingwei mid. We got Big Mama and Fight of the Zombie combining in the duo lane as Bacchus Freya as your duo lane coming out of Landslide. We got High Tier Plat playing Vimana solo and the twins. I'm going to start with him at the speed buff playing Ao Kuang, the Dragon Knight. On the right side, for Audacity, you got Black Arm and Parkour Dude combining to play in the duo lane. You got Josh Goggles as your jungler, Jit Little playing Thoth mid, and Liquid Joe as... No, sorry, I'm sorry. Liquid Joe is the support.
Yep.
Maybe drunk a little bit here. No, I'm just kidding. And Black Arm is your solo. These double Guardians tricking me.
Well,
Making
look at
me
these
think.
early wards coming out here. I'm pretty surprised by that.
Absolutely.
Very
Well,
strange
double
placements.
Guardian clear can really suffer. And even though Sobek has picked up a hog, I'm not surprised that they're kind of warding, trying to be careful that both teams do not want to get invaded and start off with a really just awful beginning.
Well, the hog in the solo lane was, I guess you could say, started by Devios, and ever since, people realized
Oh,
they
wait,
might just
no.
be better.
No, Caster's curse. Oh, no. No, they're crazy.
Oh my god.
They're crazy.
No way. Are they really going to go for it?
It
Oh
looks
my
like they
God.
are. Sobek's gank potential is not really high, but I guess with Hog, anything can happen. Here we go.
Well, yep, the Twins have spotted it out, and a nice Vimana poke here. Now we'll see how these players are going to play it. In general, it's going to be just a little bit awkward, right? You're going to sit there, you're not going to want to do buffs. There's no hogs available for Audacity, so they can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to head over and awkwardly just go to the solo lane and
That's
just...
how it works. I
hang
also
out.
made another mistake because the spectators find is fun. Sorry, guys. Still mind this. Yep, and there it is. No one's going to have any buffs in the solo lane, so it's going to look a little bit strange. The junglers are going to be less mobile, and
But look,
solo laners are gonna have to be
Jingwei
a
with
little bit more
mobility is going to head over and try to secure one. Let's count it. Two. And no, he's going to lose the third. Two. Jitlo is going to get it.
you need
with
to
that touch
sync your camera.
Oh.
Yeah,
I-
you're just a couple seconds ahead of me, don't worry.
That never happened.
Over in the duo lane, though, a lot of
You
poke
got
going
this.
both ways, and Fido's in a little bit of an awkward spot here. Freya early clear is pretty tough, especially considering the fact that, I mean, you're getting pressured by this Athena Rom, which is really good early game clear.
Oh, absolutely. Athena Rom with Athena's dash coming through the whole way, preemptive strike, and the shield bash. Oh, with a double taunt here coming, double banish coming out to clear his damage, but I don't think really Bacchus Freya can do much besides clear the wave and back away.
Well, since it's a double magical duo lane, it'll be interesting to see, with all the magical damage coming out of these gods, who's going to be able to, like, how the protections are going to be built.
I expect to see an early rush of a Heart Ward coming out of this Athena, sure to stop some of that damage, probably immediately after an Urchin.
Look at this rotation Jingwei has made all the way from mid lane to assist with the blue buff. That's impressive, but I don't know if it's going to work out positively in terms of farm.
I don't think she took any of that farm actually. I think she just rotated to make sure that Landslide didn't rotate over with the hog and steal away the blue buff. I think it's kind of smart. She did lose a little bit of gold, but overall didn't lose any EXP at all as the junglers get off to a pretty awkward start.
Well, over in the mid lane, just a little bit of boxing, but not too much going on. It seems as though they're about to hit 5 soon. Jingwei does still have airstrike to get away, but
in the dual lane, a little bit of poke going off. Big Mama actually taking the worst of it after he initiates himself. But it looks like it's just going to be mostly a wash as Frey gets a few extra pot shots off. But that's about it.
well, the pressure now goes in the favor of Audacity, unlike the first 4 levels. And once Valkyrie's discretion is going to be up, definitely going to have to be very careful about who's going to be really dealing the damage. Because if you get low and that Valkyrie's discretion comes out and you're not ready for it, you're going to have a bad time.
Absolutely. A little bit of awkward positioning here from Ace coming out. You know, trying to get around to the mid lane without losing any farm by going the slow way. But, oh, Thor's coming through. Oh,
what? Soloed, first of all, in the solo lane, and Parkour Dude almost falls as well. Valkyrie's discretion is still up. I'm surprised Fight of the Zombie didn't full commit there. Thor's just going to opt to go for the back camps instead of ganking this vulnerable Freya. But the first blood does go towards Black Arm in the solo lane, showing that me booty is the best booty.
Play coming up from Josh Douglas. He had plenty of mana to go into gank this dual lane, and he really needed to make a play to make up for the fact that Vamana got soloed out on the right side, and there's no way that there's no real way that they were going to have to deal with a counter rotation from the jungle mid coming out of Audacity.
Yep, and over here now, Thoth was thinking about making the rotation, but decided against it. And I think this Frey is extremely vulnerable. The fact that there are no wards means that... Oh, here comes the rotation now. Are we going to see Thor go to the sky?
No, I mean, they're kind of playing this very cautiously, which I'm surprised by. The dual lane of Audacity was very, very far pushed up here into the left lane, trying to get aggressive onto Landslide. And really nothing is going to come of it. They're trying to get away, go back and get their boards, and go back to lane. And neither support has rotated in 4.5 minutes out of the dual lane. Very surprising.
Well, we'll see what they're going to be able to do here. Over in these elementals, I love how sometimes such big fights start over the fire elementals when really it's, what, 90 gold? Is it worth dropping a kill for? Absolutely not, right? And it's kind of funny how...
But it's the opportunity to murder.
Opportunity, okay. So many abilities committed on killing 3 little gremlins. I mean, come on, right? Over in the dual lane, though, there's a full commit. Intoxicate was used. A really good banish. Now Valkyrie's discretion is used this time. Parkour Dude 91. Look at his health. Oh my god, he just barely gets away.
Jeez. Oh, man. How tightly is that clenched? But Thor coming up into the air. Is he looking down to lane onto Fido or not? He's going to go down onto Ace Killer, who's going to beads and immediately kind of walk away as Joshua goes back.
Oh my god,
himself.
the commit! The commit!
Oh, the twins
down he goes to the Astral Barrage!
Oh my gosh, and the duo lane both. Let's hover over them just for a moment as they survive with these slivers of health as Landslide takes a 2-0 kill lead by the skin of their teeth.
Uh-oh, Big Mama's in a lot of trouble here. A really good banish gonna appeal for support, but just off the mark. Oh, he was charging it. He wanted to scare him.
No. That was really, really well played from Josh Goggles, getting that Thor double tap and securing Thoth's damage, but it just wasn't enough to kill Big Mama with his passive. Probably mostly or maxed already. I mean, just a glance at our wards play so far. 3 coming out for Alquang, doing a good job. 2 of them, 2 sentry wards for Audacity on the map, so they could try to pressure this Gold Fury on the left side of the map, though. Athena, gonna kind of do part of that counter ward. She's gonna look around. She isn't gonna get much else besides that, though.
Well, in the early game here so far, even though there are 2 kills in favor of Landslide, it's not so much of a gigantic play as it was before. And So what you have is basically a 200 gold lead. It's really not significant, and it's really showing the farm is relatively equal. In this 7-minute game, it's not like it's EU Smite per se, you know, it's not Resident Sleeper, but it's really interesting to note how important the farm seems to be for both teams.
Well, you see, even Freya is about a level ahead of Rama. Partially, she cleared the way first, but also the dual lane when they were forced to back under the T2 tower were very low and didn't get damage off. Oh, but
Fightazama in a lot of trouble. Anvil of Dawn being used. The Valkyrie's Destruction is going to keep him alive for just a little bit longer as Defender of Olympus comes through, though Liquid Joe wants to commit to the rotation here. Josh Goggles diving the tower extremely hard. Has to use the bees, but he's going to die as well. Astro Barrage is going to pick him up, but now, boom, into the sky goes the Twins, and he's going to pick up Parkour Dude 91. Overall, 1 for 3? That's pretty freaking worth if I'm from Audacity.
Definitely well job by Audacity. As they move to look at the Gold Fury here. Josh Goggles died, unfortunately, for that, just to pick up the Freya after burning his beads and his whole kit twice to get that, as Audacity invades the red buff, and it looks like they're going to be able to pick it up no problem and hand it over to Jingwei.
But the mid lane is apparently going to be a little bit more point of contention.
Oh no,
Twin
Twins.
getting picked off in
dashed
a little
early.
strange spot. Big Mama's going to try and peel the best he can, but also going to have to use the meditate, and it doesn't look like Twins is going to be able to get away. Black Arm picking up the kill, rotating out from solo lane, but now Big Mama's also under pressure once again. And a beautiful double tap from Thor is also going to hurt him. Ace Killer is going to be able to use the airstrike, keeps himself safe, but now 4 players strong in the mid lane, and it's Landslide who have the pressure, and they're going to look at the mid tower.
That was just really ballsy coming out from Ao Kwong to make that kind of play, just dashing in directly into the middle lane, directly in front of Sobek. I kind of wonder what he was thinking. What was that? I don't know.
Well, nonetheless, they're going to be able to pick up a little bit of farm from the jungle that they can use that mid pressure with that tier 1 tower falling. It's going to put them in the lead, but only by 400 gold. So far, the game is relatively even.
Yeah, I mean it's what are we looking at here? A 400 gold difference for Landslide, and actually 800 EXP difference for Audacity. So this game is essentially even at this point, with both teams having solid late games. So, you know, this is anyone's game still at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Some key items are also going to come up as well. Now that Freya's finished Fatalis, as soon as Freya's done boots, things are going to be looking pretty different in terms of the effectiveness of ADCs here. It's been an important central part of Landslide's strategy to make sure that Josh Goggles is camping this Freya, but it doesn't look like it's been to much consequence, and Freya's been actually been dealing a ton of damage and been able to get the pressure onto the Rama, surprisingly.
But I have to wonder what is going on for the Double Guardian on the Landslide. There are 3 magical carries coming out for Audacity, and they're both building into breastplate rushes. Surprisingly, you know, it just seems like they're buying physical defense when they really don't need it. I mean, perhaps Sobek is dealing with a Vimana in the solo lane, but certainly not Athena.
Well, take a look at the player damage here. Who's dealing all that damage? It's coming from Thor, and that is a pretty central thing that they're recognizing here. That the Rama isn't necessarily going to come on till late game, but having the breastplate there for the cooldowns as well is going to be pretty important, and that's why it's a core item in so many support builds.
Well, definitely, but I mean, look at Freya with 4,000 damage, and Bacchus coming at 3,000 damage. I mean, both of those are magical carries here, and Ao Kwong is the 3rd highest, so all the top 3 highest damage dealers for Audacity are all.
But there's an engagement here by the Gold Fury, forced to burn his beads is Thor. Josh Goggles just going to get out using his hammer, but it's an important relic for them to get. Now that Thor's beads are gone, they can look to pick him off in the next fight here.
And there's just kind of some posturing here around the Gold Fury as Landslide secures their own red, which was invaded the last time it spawned by Audacity after they made a good play over here in the left lane. And the team's kind of posturing around, looking around, trying to find picks as Bach is trying to look to pressure out Landslide's jungle.
Well, Audacity is going to recognize that the fact that Landslide is playing so far back is going to give him a chance to put pressure in other places in the map, especially in mid lane here. And it's the small things like this, like denying 2-3 minions of farm. Remember, if a tower hits a creep, it's worth 0 gold. And so denying these little bits of farm here is pretty vital in order to make sure they're choking off the enemy here and keeping that gold difference as minimal as possible now. Just 200 gold in the favor of Landslide.
Absolutely. This game is still very close, and even the warding is about even here. Both teams just kind of trying to posture, farm a little bit more until the next major fight that is probably going to end in a Gold Fury being secured by either team that wins it.
Those mid Harpies did, I believe, go the way of Landslide, though, so... no, my mistake. They went to Audacity, so the gold is literally even now. And we'll see how the next fight goes here. Intoxicate's going to be used. Josh Goggles is banished, and it looks like he's going to be falling quite quickly here. Ace Killer just doesn't manage to pick him up in time, though. And in the air and to safety goes the Anvil of Dawn as well. The ultimate pop from Thoth means that nobody's going to be able to re-engage too well, but Big Mama now plucked by Black Arm. He's in a lot of trouble. He's going to have to meditate himself, but he's still not going to be able to get away. The Astral Barrage comes in, and Black Arm secures it with Lurking in the Waters. High tier plat has made the rotation here. Look at the Twins positioning,
a lot of
though.
damage on Rama's from the back.
Look at the Twins positioning.
Comes in as well
They
as
spotted him.
Ace Killers.
Look at the Twins. He wants it. He's looking in the back line. He wants it. But over here, a beautiful taunt sets up Liquid Joe to pick up Ace Killer, and now all of a sudden, Audacity, they look like they're on the retreat. He wants to get the ultimate off, and he does!
Gets the execute. There we go.
That's what he needed, and now, where is he gonna go? And he's just gonna go
right
to
to the
speed buff,
speed buff.
of course, like any good jungler would.
A jungler after my own heart.
Uh-oh,
Okay,
but he's in a
Landslide
little bit
ends
of
up winning the
trouble.
fight, but his twins can get picked
Goodbye.
up. Oh, and the double
He
tap with
paid
Little
for
getting
it.
the final damage. Oh, but he is gonna get the speed.
Oh, he did drop it, sure, but he
Unfortunately,
paid for it
Josh
with his
Goggles.
life.
Josh, I love you. Go take the enemy speed. Go now. Go. Go do it. Get revenge.
Oh,
he's
actually,
headed.
Belmana didn't finish it.
I believe it went down to the order side. It was finished and shown on the map.
Well, since everyone was forced to back, I would like to see Audacity attempt a Gold Fury here, but their ward coverage isn't necessarily good enough. All they have is that one sentry there. It's just not enough. Only just.
All right, Josh invades the speed in return and is going to head on back with his bounty. As the lane's just about reset after that fight, with Landslide getting the better of it, though the Twins did manage to get a kill right before being a little too greedy and getting caught out himself.
Well, Freya's looking to go for an engage here on the left side. Definitely getting a lot of
Up
good
into
poke.
the air.
Uh-oh. Where is he going to go? And there he goes, landing into the safety behind the Gold Fury pit, of course. He's just
Big
a
Mama
little
leaping
bit scared.
away, expecting it and leaping it away out into safety. Though I don't think that was going to convert into a kill regardless.
Freya's going 1v2 here, actually, but now Big Mama's around the corner. He wants to bait that Rama so bad now that Big Mama's showed up. But the flop's going to be off the mark here, the Belch as well. And that'll force a little bit of a disengage. I wanted to see a little more action here in the left lane, but this passive play from Rama, recognizing that he can't exactly box a Freya, who's already level 14, it's a very smart play.
Absolutely. I mean, it's also kind of questionable that he bought a Kaival. Kaival doesn't work at all against magical carries, and I mean there is the hashtag Xenotronics mid here, but
Hold on, there's a big engage going on here, and Big Mama is in a little bit of trouble, and he's taking a lot of damage as well.
Rama
The
getting
Little's gonna
soloed
secure it,
off.
and Rama gets soloed as well by Fido the Zombie, so 1 for 1 here, but now they're gonna turn on this Freya. They've popped the sprint. They wanna go for it. He sees blood. Josh Goggles is gonna be going for it. He's gonna beat the banish. He's gonna go in the double tap. Doesn't connect, but the Berserker Barrage is gonna be enough to pick it up anyways, but now,
And the
take a
return
look. Defender of
comes
Olympus
through.
is gonna be forced to save him here, as
he's gonna go back in. Balls
He's going in the air.
He is going to make it out as
Meanwhile,
High Tier Plat takes out Jit Little
On the
in
back.
the back with a hot rotation.
But now, High Tier Pat is going to be ulting there, deciding to push forward on the left lane.
Man,
As-
nobody likes creeps. None of that. High
Well-
Tier Plat saw those. He goes, "It's my farm. I'm a solo lane."
Disengages now, and a nice little reset. So as a result of that fight, though, Landslide do pull ahead. 1,100 now gold lead for them.
I'm surprised that Landslide just doesn't try and make an attempt to go for this gold dream. They have the only hog in the game, And with the way these fights have been going so evenly, it's highly likely they can secure a gold and go even in a fight and get a big victory off of that. But right now it's basically even, and we're just sitting here in the middle waiting for it to get interesting.
Well, it's important to also take note of which relics are on cooldown. Perhaps they're just waiting for them to come off cooldown for the next fight. For sure, there's an advantage on the side of Audacity, especially because their Bacchus has now a sprint that really helps with Black Arm's gigantic curse and lurking in the water. Or he doesn't have curse this time, but the lurking in the waters that does so much, and that's been picking up all these kills for them. Meanwhile, though, in the dual lane here, Freya solos Rom once again. Fido the Zombie on fire this game.
Once again, this Ichable pickup from Rama does absolutely nothing for him to help him box a magical damage Freya, and I'm not quite sure why he picked it up, but it's clearly the effects are showing. It puts him down 1,700 gold effectively in the box against Freya, and she is fed and eating him alive. Thor ults into the air. Is he going to come?
Oh, and he's going to come down onto Ace Killer, who's going to force out Purification. That's a really important cooldown. The Thoth ult as well being charged scared Ace Killer enough into using the airstrike. But look at this. Look at this cheeky, sneaky Gold Fury. They have no idea. And there it goes. It's already done. And Audacity just get themselves a free Gold Fury. The Thoth ult off the mark here. Josh Goggles is now a little bit out of position. He's going to try and run away on the backside, and he does. But now they're still going to chase him. And in fact, the Twins is actually going to be able to pick him up. And now they're going to go in for another engage here. Twins landing down onto Jit Little, who's now in trouble. Quite a vulnerable immobile Thoth once his dash is down.
Is it gonna save Jit Little's life? The meditation. He's barely alive, and he actually makes it out so far with Jit Little. Ace Killer comes down to chase him down, but the Hog, as Big Mama flops away, and Jit Little is going to be finally picked up.
By Freya, he's made the rotation, and it's all of the Freya show right here as High Tier Plat goes in for a huge amount of engaged Black Arm, as well as just not going to be able to do enough now to High Tier Pat. Fighter the Zombie picks up Liquid Joe, and they're just going to go straight for the tower here. Very, very good play where they're splitting up the enemy team and just taking them down one by one. Freya's at the point where she's just going to take all the 1v1s she can, and that's showing in the KDA now, 4-2.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what happens when you feed a Freya, man. This is not something you do. I mean, the game is so even. Audacity did manage to sneak that gold free.
He's going in so deep, but he's not going to be able to get it.
The Rama ults are a little bit off the mark. Marvels is crying in a corner as Josh Goggles does a good auto attack cancel to clean him up. But
now he's in a bad spot, and Freya is chunking them. A beautiful knockup from Jingwei's going to support Freya getting a double kill. Freya's going to be on a rampage in just a moment here if they can't find a way out. The Twins 30 is already respawned, and Fido the Zombie here once again going to be focusing down Liquid Joe and gets himself a rampage. Or not quite, but it's his 7th kill. Airstrike going to be used as well, and boom! Into the air goes the Twins as Fido the Zombie.
4-for-1 trade.
That's rough.
And,
oh no! Deicide!
And a Deicide.
That was just sloppy fighting from Landslide. They weren't selecting their target right, and they just let everyone take the 1v1s. Granted, they did get a couple kills in that engagement, but now what? 3,500 gold advantage for Audacity, and it's only going to spiral out of control from here. It's all Freya.
Insane green, and Freya just comes into the back and gets to free cast for the whole team fight. Josh Goggles puts his whole kit and life into getting Big Mama the support. Bacchus, who's totally fine with trading a 1-for-4, as now Audacity takes the mid T1 and rotates over to the mid T,
Look
the left
at
T1.
Fido the Zombie's positioning. He is Freya, and he wants blood. Gets the Sanctuary of Parkour dude, but Valkyrie's Discretion is still going to pick up the kill, finding himself the 8th kill. Unstoppable.
And if Landslide wants to get back into this game, they have to deal with this Freya and put her down into the respawn. If they want to have any chance of getting back into this game, they are now down, let's see here, 5,000 gold and 10,400 EXP. I mean, they're really going to have a difficult time from now on.
Definitely, it's all about keeping that Freya under control, and unfortunately, they're not able to do that. And that's really, really hurting them. So
they also picked a double Guardian, as we mentioned before, and this is what you're really showing, is you have a Freya and Alcon that absolutely shred Guardians, and they are just going off. Twins going in on Josh Goggles, but it looks like a Thor Hammer.
He has his blink up. He could get the kill if he wanted.
If you want.
Instead, though, they're gonna probably just try and start a Beta's fire, and that's a very good call from Audacity. It's 20 minutes, you have late game damage, you really want a Beta fight, you're gonna group up in right lane, but if I'm Audacity, I'm looking at Fire Giant.
I mean, here you have a Freya with Demonic Grip, Obsidian Shard, and Pen Boots already finished. She is going to hit like a truck.
He's going in, but Forced to Burn Beast taking a lot of damage here. Into the air goes Josh Goggles. He's looking for it. He's looking for it, but realizes he's going to be diving into 5. Is it going to be worth? Absolutely, he decides. Oh, never mind. He missed the targeter.
Aegis and Heavenly Burn try to get Fido out as Black Arm chases on his own. Doesn't
Goodness,
get ult off,
and
but
gets picked up by Black Arm. There's the shutdown that they needed.
To say, as Hydra Pat attempts to punish him, but Twins is very, very low.
There
as
goes the
Boxer
Intoxicate.
comes through, as well as Defender of Olympus trying to defend on Thor as Thor gets out. The Black Arm is caught on his own. Will he go down?
Oof, not quite enough damage for the execute, but nonetheless, gonna take a lot of damage. But look at left lane! Look at left lane!
Really good job, Parkour, as Landslide managed to get a 4v5 and go even as Parkour gets 2 towers, really getting them a lot of gold here. And putting down the gold down to 3,000.
That's really key. If you're Landslide, you need to be getting gold from whatever you can here. Oh my goodness. The fight rages on, though, by the Fire Giant here. Black Arm's going to pluck Big Mama here. He's going to try and get away, but Little's damage is going to be just too much. Big Mama's forced to go away. He has no mana, and Black Arm's just going to chase him down, and there it goes. Marvels indeed, as finally Parkour Dude picks himself up a kill. A much-needed kill, the second one of the game here. And now hides your plants. A little bit of an awkward situation. Just a little.
He's just gonna spread graffiti on the ground. He's just gonna put his graffiti down, throw his big bat around, and just go home.
Of course, he's Vamana, right? But look at this teleport coming in. Look at this. High tier Plat's back.
Black Arm
He
getting
teleported
absolutely
behind them.
shredded by the double carry from Audacity, but they're gonna back away and look to contest this speed buff as Twiz. Oh, that is so unfair.
Josh Goggles, though, he's in a really bad spot, forced to use the Sanctuary and the Purification. Is he going to be able to get out? No, in fact, Fido the Zombie picks him up. And that's going to be pretty important as well. Freya now with 9 kills. Uh-oh, Liquid's seeing somewhere he can jump. Well,
Just take a
did
moment.
he miss?
Let's just take a moment.
What was
as
that
the
Athena
team
ult?
looks being rotated around at the player damage. 2,300.
23,000.
23,600. Excuse me. On this Freya AD carry. He is just chunking people. As
Twins
gets
picks up
punished
Jit
into
Little
meta
with
damage.
a beautiful execute in the back line. Ace Killer's also getting chunked out, but now Parkour Dude is the focus here. And there he goes. Big Mama credited with the kill. And goodbye, Liquid Joe. You can only last
Ace
so
Killer
long.
gets chased down in the back by Black Arm. He's very, very low, and he is going to trade out the AD carries, but it is to no avail as his whole team is dead now that only Josh Goggle besides him remains alive after he's just respawned after being taken out by Fido in the beginning of that fight.
As a result, Audacity is going to be able to take that mid tower. Josh Goggles only going to be able to do some poke damage. Now they just immediately turn on him, and he gets absolutely deleted before he can even go into the air. Valkyrie's Discretion used just for good measure, but Mana ult as well coming through. And the Twins 30, despite getting poked out by Black Arm, is just going to fall, throw those couple basics into the tower and fall back. Where's the Fire Giant?
Even though that fight was slightly thrown on the right side about 5 minutes ago by Audacity, they've come back with a vengeance, now returning to their 5,000 gold lead, just about to be 6,000 as they, and definitely actually 7,000 as they do the Gold Fury here on the left side. Looks like it will be uncontested unless Rama can pull a marbles on us.
If I'm Landslide, I want to do fire if they're on gold.
Oh, I concur.
And,
There's
well,
3 on right side. There's 3 on right. Do they hear us? Do they hear the call? No.
they
No,
don't.
as Audacity takes the Gold Fury, and
They
they've
still
now
can do fire.
skyrocketed themselves to a 7,500
They can
gold
still
lead.
do fire.
Nah.
Well, only now is
it's
Big
over.
Mama showing up. Well,
Sad boys. Sad boys.
that's what happens
for
when you don't have a
Landslide.
word in the Gold Fury.
Man, it sucks you're not casters and you can't just see everything.
I know,
The
right?
power of omniscience here.
Yeah, but now look at this grouping up here. 4v5 on the right side. Freya just went back to base, though, so they can look to make a play here. And in the sky is Thor as well. and he's looking for it, as well as Thoth charging the ult. High tier Plat's gonna be the target here, and they absolutely full invest into him, but now the Intoxicate comes out, and now Big Mama's the focus here. High tier Plat, he's just gonna heal up, he's not gonna quite get away. Black Arm's gonna pick him up on the sidelines, but now Ace Killer's chunking them in here, and the Twins is gonna be trying to go in himself, but now he's forced to use his beads. Oh! What?
From
Wrecked!
Josh Goggles, keeping him alive so he doesn't get executed by Alfong, as Fido finally comes into the fight after being back to base and is going to take out Josh Goggles with a hot 2 autos.
I'm just gonna say though, the Twins got absolutely wrecked, even though this fight is clearly going the way of Audacity. What an incredible play.
He went a little bit too deep before his team was there. I think some kind of miscommunication about the initiation there, and he got turned on very the back arm very,
Valkyrie's
very
discretion
low.
is gonna be used, but Jit Little's gonna pick up Big Mama. Black Arm can't get caught this time, and he's gonna just barely get away. Very interesting
Fido and
fight
Ace
from
Killer, are they
Landslide.
going to push? They have the health advantage, but no, they're both going to back off. They do not really want to fight into Athena taunt and all the damage from Thoth as they try to take out Ramos, so they're just going to back off.
Well, I say that fight went in the
L.
way of Audacity, but I guess I was wrong, right? It was 3 for 2, and that's
Three
important
for 2.
when you're taking out the 3 that are higher level from Audacity.
Absolutely, and the fact that Landslide wants to stall at this point, they are deep in a 7,000 gold deficit, and they want to farm as much as possible. The Fire Giant is going to be started by the double 80 carry of Audacity. They try to sneak it, but it is spotted out by Landslide.
Josh Goggles is looking at it as well. No relics though, so he has to be very careful on his engage. And High Tier Plat's going in to CC him, but a nice wall just goes, I don't think so, not this time. Donald Trump would be proud of a wall like that. So it looks like they're going to be grouping up here, trying to bait another fight.
Now,
Is
it
this
looks
the
like
right
they're
call?
all kind of jockeying position, looking to try to get a pick off. Fido being really, really aggressive with his positioning here. Could get caught out by Athena Thor. There's the
A
wall
nice
double tap.
yeah.
But there's going to be no follow-up there. Black Arm and Liquid Joe really not in position to CC down.
Well,
Fido.
the Thoth ult, though, Jit Little from around the corner, from downtown, he's gonna just chunk Jit Little. I mean, he's gonna chunk High Tier Plat, but he's a tanky Vimana. He doesn't care. Big Mama's gonna be going in here, and now the full commit's gonna get started, as well as a small little skirmish on the side. 5v5, they're throwing their poke in there. High Tier Plat's
Oh
gonna be
my
backing,
God,
but Parkour
Brett.
Dude now forced to use his Sanctuary. He's not gonna get away from anything unless Black Arm has something to say about it. Lurking in the water, plus a nice little belch. Ace Killer forced to use the airstrike, just barely gets away. The Intoxicate as well, really nice CC here. And now High Tier Plat, but on the backside here, Josh Goggles picks up Ace Killer. High Tier Plat forces to go into the Colossal Fury, trying to 1v4 here, but it's just a little bit too much for him to handle, and he's gonna have to back
Landslide
away.
has got to get out. This is a 3v5 at this point. If they keep staying in, they are going to get caught out. Josh Goggles coming from the backside, but he has no help, and he's going to get interrupted out of his hammer throw and turned on by High Tier Plat. He's going to have to pick him up. The
Oh,
wall
and he's
comes
gonna
through
just
as
barely get
well
away
as
while
the
Fido
beast
does
as
something.
Fido
Picks up
gets
Liquid Joe on the
Joe.
side. Very nicely done, and the good disengage, but what was that worth, right?
Josh Goggles did a very good job
2
of getting
kills.
out, but unfortunately, he did not have anyone else there to help the Athena as Liquid Joe is taken out. As Black Arm lazy back.
Uh-oh.
Lazy
Lazy
back.
back.
Hey, lazy back.
He's gonna get caught out, and that's gonna be the opportunity for them to start the Fire Giant after Alkwang went up and realized here that the enemy team is nowhere near. It's gonna be
The only
fairly
person
free.
with a hog on the map is Athena, and she will be up in 5 seconds as Audacity
Got
does
off?
surprisingly.
Oh, look
as-
who arrived! Josh Goggles came in with the Anvil of Dawn. That's why they got out. He was in the sky, and now Defender of Olympus comes in here. So now Audacity, they have a little bit of a health disadvantage, and they just use their meditate, so they're gonna have to disengage here. A lot of uncoordinated team fighting going on here. Jit Little's gonna be allowed to free cast on the back line.
Audacity really needs to back off and heal in the fountain. They are all about half health, and none of them really in a good spot for this fight. I mean, the team's been fighting over this Fire Giant for about 6 or 7 minutes now, and the left side's actually pushing in favor of Landslide. Somebody should go over there and clear some creeps before heading back right side. But let's talk about items for just a second as the teams back off here.
Yeah, some important endgame items are going in as people are starting to hit level 20, finally.
Interestingly enough, we have a Ankrov's Talon rather than a Polynomicon coming out for Fido on that Freya. Interestingly enough, I think both items are really, really solid on her, but I think that the just straight one-shot potential, or 2 or 3 shot coming out of the Polynomicon that it gives you is a really, really big benefit. But my lord, that Ao Kuang, I don't want to be anywhere near that build.
Oh yes, pure power. Ao Kuang, the assassin who thinks he's a mage. Oh,
Wait,
and the fight's going to be started here. Fight of the Zombie is going to be forced to use the Sanctuary, but doesn't have the Purification. He's going to have to use the Valkyrie's Discretion. Blackarm, though, taking a lot of damage now, and on the backside here, the Twins isn't going to be able to get the execute of this nicely Sanctuary out by Little, and now Fight of the Zombie is going to be able to pick up Josh Goggles as well. The Twins 30 going to be healing back up as a nice result of the ball in Omicron, and Liquid Joe here is getting chunked out by Ace Killer. Beautiful meditate here, and now the Twins is looking to go back in here, and maybe thinks better of it here. The Siege now goes onto the middle. Phoenix, a beautiful flop from Big Mama here, and now Liquid Joe gets a nice double taunt, but he's really low. He can't stay. The Thoth ult, though, it's not going to connect.
Actually, Black Arm moves high tier plat out of the Thoth ult, but I'm really surprised the Thoth ult isn't going onto the carries, but it's going into high tier plat, at least the intended target is, as Landslide manages to defend their Phoenix, even though both of the T2s stand on both sides.
Look at those
Interestingly
crits!
enough.
200 crits from Jingwei onto that Sobek, and you were yelling at him for building physical power. I mean, physical protections.
Oh, early. Not late game. No.
Well, Liquid Joe's going to get a nice taunt on the Big Mama, and the Banish isn't going to be able to peel properly. He's going to have the belly flop to get away, but I wonder if Landslide is actually thinking about starting the fire or baiting the fight. High tier plat has definitely showed up, and the teleport's coming in from Sobek here. We'll see what's gonna happen though, as high tier plat's going deep here, but the Twins, the blink over the wall. He wants it, but he just can't seem to connect it.
Liquid Joe getting absolutely chunked, but Josh comes back in with the ult and the combo onto Fido, who doesn't have an ultimate.
There they go! 2 kills now, 3 kills now. Landslide is coming on top of the team fight due to bad target selection by Audacity, and now he's in the retreat. Ace Killer
all alone except for Big Blue comes in to defend him, but the whole team of Landslide is weak. If Ace can get 2 or 3 crit off on these carries, he can wipe the whole team at this point.
Marvel's
He's
in
just
the
gonna
air.
back off and forced out by Sobek.
Marvel's in the air, doesn't seem to do much to Big Mama here. He's quite a tanky tank there, and that's the build is it's definitely there. He's not gonna take too much from that. But even though this is a huge advantage for Landslide, picking up 3 extremely important kills, Audacity of course have the bad target selection, but the fact that they're getting the low means that Fire Giant isn't necessarily a huge threat. Big Mama definitely showing it here. Athena's got really good control though, doesn't necessarily steal it. Landslide is going to secure it with the Athena Hog, and now they've got the Fire Giant and they're on the offensive. Big Mama's in a lot of trouble here. The taunt doesn't come through, and what?
Oh, the worm. Oh. Alright.
A little bit of a withdrawal. Big Mama's going to be able to get away because of that.
Low lane side. I mean, if we really want to look back on that fight, Fido is playing really aggressive with his positioning, and he is playing very, very well. The problem is that this game has been allowed by Audacity to get into the late game stages where almost every player has 5 or 6 items, and they really can't afford to have Freya out of position and caught out by the CC chain with her ult down. And once they do that, and they couldn't target select after that, there's no hope of them winning that team fight.
Do you know what I'm seeing in every fight? I'm seeing every play. I'm seeing so much good damage and, you know, crowd control coming out from Audacity, but they're just not finishing the kills. How do you not finish the kills? You have Valkyrie's Discretion.
Everyone gets
the
so
King of the
low.
Eastern Seas.
And I cannot believe that there is no Shell, the most OP active in the game besides Beads. There is no Shell in the god darn game when we have 2 high burst comps on the team fight. Gold Fury being started up by Landslide, and they're about to finish it uncontested, but it's a Gold Fury at 35 minutes, and I do not think Audacity really minds.
Well, the gold lead was still in the favor of Audacity until it still is, but the Fire Giant's going to make a little bit of a difference in that. But
Essentially, the
I love
gold lead
seeing
has
level 20
been
so big.
no.
Yeah, basically right now, in fact, you can even say Landslide is fighting with an advantage.
Absolutely, with that Fire Giant giving them health, regen, and a lot of damage and protections as well to try to allow them to not get bursted immediately and heal to push down these structures, which they are absolutely shredding with the Thoth 3 as well as Rama's damage as an AD carry.
Yeah, you can see definitely all that damage that he's doing as a result of basically just the pure power, right? He doesn't have much penetration, but those crits are bringing him up on the player damage chart. I want to say though, Blackarm is for sure the difference in this game. He's a Sobek, and he's got 9 kills. Uh-oh, look who went in there. The Twins 30, he's not going to be able to pick it up.
It Little doing a very good play and getting out, but as Thor ults back into the front line, he's gonna burn Fido's beads and back off. It's a huge win for Landslide on this siege.
Into the Colossal Fury goes high tier plat, and now they're gonna just turn on him and absolutely engage because he's caught out of position. But his team is going to be able to be there to peel for him. Blackarm plucks him back and says, you come back here, and he's just deleted! Where did he go? He's the mana!
He's going to ult into the back with Valkyrie's Discussion, but he's just not going to get enough damage off. Be forced back to the base. Blackarm probably going to back and TP as the siege continues.
Where
into
did
36
Vamana
minutes.
go? He just disappeared. He was half health. Well, Big Mama as well is also going to be attacked, but it's only a little bit of damage here. This is going to be a really dire situation for Audacity to defend, though.
No, this is a Phoenix going down at least.
Oh!
Wind comes
Not
in.
quite, though. That was so close. I think that was a very clutch Sanctuary saving the life of Josh Goggles, but he's going into the air. He wants it, and he goes right down underneath the Phoenix, aiming to CC out Fido the Zombie, but Fido the Zombie ends up picking up Blackarm, and now he's going to use the Sanctuary to make sure that he gets out. Josh Goggles is going to be going in, though, this time on the other AD carry, who's forced to use the airstrike out, and the Twins is going to be able to pick up our Kurdu in the back line as a result of it. He uses his bees, but a beautiful Thor wall from the enemy team ends up securing himself the kill.
To move. I like moving too, but Athena's just got denied by that wall. Really well placed by Josh Goggles, of course, murdering his own teammate in cold blood.
Well,
savage.
What a turn of
Absolutely
events.
savage.
That's 3 players down, although Audacity did lose 2 Phoenixes. So, while Landslide did take some casualties, they got what they came for. The game is once again even.
I highly doubt that Audacity can end the game here with both T2s on the left and right still standing. There's really not a lot of. I mean, the
They can
Titans
take one
way
Phoenix,
too.
maybe a tower, but they don't have
Definitely a
enough.
Phoenix, I think, here if they play it right.
A cute little
Thor
ultimate from
coming
Good Little
in,
hits
but
nobody.
just not enough. As Jingwei just attacks the tower, being
Well,
Jingwei.
Down it goes, and we have to, of course, point out that now Jit Little is doing a lot of damage here. Ram's not showing up like a good late game carry, might show up the way Freya's doing in this game, but if you look at the damage charts, I mean, whoever expected Sobek to be above Ram, you know?
Yeah.
F-Dot would be proud.
When you get soloed 2 or 3 times in lane, that's kind of what happens. Not really looking good for Rom, but he's playing most of these fights pretty well, staying pretty deep into the backline, using his snipes and long-range autos to kind of stay at it.
The Fire Giants have started again, and this time Big Mama's here on the way. Josh Goggles goes into the sky here. He's going to be scoping it out, seeing who's showing up, making the call, whether or not they're going to be engaging, and in fact, he's going to jump into the Twins. A beautiful call is now he's going to have a really hard time. The double tap secures... Wait, what?
Oh!
What?
Just
Oh my god. And Audacity steals the Fire Giant with a beautiful Intoxicate from Big Mama as well to make sure that the scene continues. The Valkyrie's Discretion comes out here. And now Fido the Dude in a
Josh
little
Goggles
bit
is
of an
gonna-
awkward spot. Blackarm picks
double
up high
tap
tier plat though on the backside. And Fido Zombie's going to be able to
Absolutely,
get out.
Big
A really
Mama.
nice disengage. Wow.
Big Mama in trouble as they try to Tim and Fido down into the left side jungle.
Marvels though, he's not going to be able to connect the snipes.
Marvels.
But Big Mama is still in a lot of trouble.
but it looks like
CC
he'll
to
be
death. Josh Goggles
Down
securing
by
the
double
kill.
Guardian. Absolutely.
So all this damage is coming from Thor.
Into the left Phoenix. No, it looks like they're not really feeling healthy or confident now they lost the Fire Giant there. I have no idea how. Blackarm did not use his hog in that fight. And sad boys for Landslide, but they are going to pick up a commemorative goal if you're, it's like a participation trophy,
Well, I think...
you
Yeah, go ahead.
everybody gets one.
I think that it's pretty interesting how... Who are the 2 people that died in that engagement? I think the 2 people that died in that engagement were the people you want to die in that engagement. When you have to steal the fire, and you got fire on 5 players, who do you want Fire Giant on? You want it on Freya,
Absolutely.
and you want it on Jingwei, and you want it on Ao Kuang. I think that's a win for Audacity.
Audacity needs to group and push into the right and left T2s. There's no real way for them to possibly contest after putting up these fire mini wave. There's
Ace
really
Killer
no
taking a lot
way
of
for them
poke.
to possibly. There's no way for them to possibly be able to end game if they don't take down those T2s to weaken the Titan if they try to go for a last-minute end after winning a team fight. That's really the way back into this game for them, is to group it.
Well, it looks like here the middle and right Phoenixes have both respawned for Audacity, and this time with the Fire Giant around their waists. They're looking at continuing this. I think Silent Shadows is unfortunately disconnected, but that's not going to stop Thor from coming in here. He's going down with the Anvil of Dawn, forced to use the Purification, and the Athena ult's going to be doing well to save him. But Kwang here, he's also in a lot of trouble here, and Blackarm's going to pick him up here. A beautiful Intoxicate plus the Astral Barrage is going to find a lot of damage, and Liquid Joe is going to pick up Ace Killer here. And now High Tier Plat is going to be popping his ultimate a little bit late maybe, but Josh Coggins is going to be able to get him the side parkour to picks up High Tier Plat though, unfortunately for him.
Jit Little is so low in the back as well as Josh Coggins, and they are somehow
Big Mom is going to just barely... No, he's not going to get away in front of the zombie, forced to use his Purification and goes into the Valkyrie's discretion, not able to pick up Jit Little.
Jit Little is going to survive, and
he's going to be using the Sanctuary and get onto the base. Josh dies to the fountain.
Josh.
But one man on a mission, this Freya doesn't have much to do in order to defend, but he picks up Jit Little. Is it gonna reset the Fire Giant? Oh my god, it's just barely gonna be a victory here. Deicide and a victory for Audacity. Rather, for Landslide in a very, very close game the whole way through.
I asked for Spice, and I received it. Really, really good extended 42-minute long brawl for both teams, and well played by Landslide in that game.
Unbelievable. That was so back and forth. It was even the whole way through, beginning to end. Just crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, Freya with 53,000 player damage. Absolutely the player for her team that did the most work. But I gotta say, Black Arm. Holy Lord.
Absolutely.
1,500 damage less than his mid lane mage, and was 12-3. Definitely a player of the game, for me at least, for Landslide.
Anyway, we'll be back shortly with the third game. And perhaps another scrim later on as well. Iniquity Blue versus Iniquity Violet. We'll see you guys in just a moment.
Let's go.